Okay, so in this video we are going to use synthetic division to divide polynomials. And the trick to synthetic division is basically we're forgetting about all the variables, all the exponents, we're focusing solely on the coefficients. So we're dividing into, x cubed plus 7x squared minus 38x minus 240, and we're dividing x plus 5 into that. So whatever we're dividing by, really we're looking at what is the root of x plus 5. Well, that's the solution, that's the root of negative 5. So I'm going to use the root in synthetic division. I put negative 5 into that little box, and then I put my coefficients next to it. 1, 7, negative 38, and negative 240. So I've dropped all of the variables, all of the exponents. I'm just looking at the numbers. I'm always adding down, and I start by adding 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1. To get the next number, I'm going to do negative 5 times 1. I get negative 5. 7 plus negative 5 is 2. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Negative 38 plus negative 10 is negative 48. Negative 5 times negative 48 is 240, and that gives me 0. This 0 is my remainder. This is my constant term. This is my x term. And this is my x squared term. So I build my polynomial from right to left, always using my first value as my remainder. So in other words, if I were to use long division, when I divide that polynomial by x plus 5, I should get that x squared plus 2x minus 48. So let's try that again. This time I'm dividing by x plus 2, so my root must be negative 2. By the way, one of the tricks to synthetic division is that in order to use synthetic division, we've got to be dividing by a binomial where my leading coefficient is a 1. So I have negative 2 in the box, 1, negative 14, 51, and negative 54. 0 there, addition, 1 times negative 2, negative 2. Negative 14 plus negative 2 is negative 16. That gives me 32. That gives me 83. That gives me negative 166, which gives me negative 210. Oh man, this is a remainder. So what that tells me is that x plus 2 is not a factor of x cubed minus 14x squared plus 51x minus 54. It is not a factor, because if it were a factor, then I would have a remainder of 0. So since it's not a factor, I'm not even going to bother writing out my polynomial, because, well, if I wanted to, it would look like this, but because of that remainder, I would have to write minus 210 over x plus 2. And really, that's a huge pain in the butt. So I'm totally going to avoid having to do that. So let's look at one more example here. X minus 2 dividing into x to the 5th. Now I have to put my zeros in here as the placeholders, just like in long division. So my root is 2. I have a 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, negative 32. Adding 0, that gives me a 1, 2, gives me a 2, 4, gives me a 4, 8, 16, 32. So my remainder is 0. So I have 16 plus 8x plus 4x squared plus 2x plus 2x cubed plus x to the 4th. So this times x minus 2 will equal x to the 5th minus 32. And that's our lesson on synthetic division there.